I don't think a single piece of media exists in the world of me in a beanie. I don't think it exists. I mean, well, I don't think it exists to public consumption. And that's weird to say. You consume a photo. That makes it seem like someone's eating photos out there. Which is interesting because if someone eats poetry and it's their own poetry, that means that they're literally eating their own words, which is usually like figurative language, like eat your words. But then that's actually a thing that people can do. They can eat their own words. Isn't that wild? But what's really wild is that I don't think I've ever been seen in a beanie. Ever. Like, I don't think a piece of, like I said, video or photo exists of me in a beanie. But that's a lie. I just lied to you, like straight to your face. Because it does exist. It exists on my phone. And I've just never shown it to anyone. But I have tons of photos and videos of me in a beanie on my phone, you know? Actually, it's just a beanie. That's right. It's a new style where you just wear a beanie. And you're like, wait, don't you wear beanies to feel warm? Why would you only wear a beanie? I know. That's fashion right there. And you're like, it doesn't even look good. I'm like, well, actually, nope. I thought of like, right there, I thought of like 3 bad jokes. I'm not even going to entertain any of them. They're all like too inappropriate to like ever say in front of anyone. Isn't that so sucky? See, this is something I've realized about myself. I feel like, as you like grow up, this is really unfortunate, but like as you grow up, apparently, like you have to have like okay, hold on. I didn't know I was gonna, okay. Let's pause. Why am I even wearing a beanie, right? I don't know. I just feel like off, right? And to me, I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast, but I have it written down. I write down like all my jokes. Like anytime I think of a joke, I write it down. So one joke I have written down, I don't even know if it's a joke. It's more of like just an observation. It's like beanies are like the vapor rub, but for your head. Or they're like the vapor rub of clothing. Like anytime you feel sick or you feel weird, you just slap that shit on and it fixes it, That's how I feel about beanies. You just throw that on and then it's all good. But then they have so much utilitarian use too, Like I always wear a beanie when I do the dishes so that my hair doesn't, get in the way. So smart, I know. Does this guy go to UC Davis? He did. He's almost done actually. Isn't that incredible? But back to my earlier point. Or not, is it Vapor Rub? Yeah, Vicks. Whatever Vicks is, right? Vicks Vapor Rub. But to my earlier point, this is something I've noticed about myself, and I'm like, oh no, is this bad? Is this going to be a serious thing? As I've been interacting more with like the adult world, I've noticed that I like have to stop myself a lot. Like there's a lot of the times when I think of like the worst joke or like the worst thing to say in a situation. And due to the environment that I'm now in, which is like a professional setting, I can't say these things. And so then I just kind of pocket them, I just kind of holster them. But now there's this like weird, I don't know if it's an irrational fear, but I have this, I'll just say fear that I'm going to like lose that muscle. Because if you don't exercise it, then you lose it, right? Use it or lose it, punk. It's like, are you talking about muscles or water fountains? Either one works. Except when you are not using a muscle, no one's behind you saying 1, 2, 3, you're done. You ever have that shit? Elementary school, we always had that shit. You just got done with recess, you're about to go into the classroom, but then you quickly sneak and get a little sip of the water fountain. And then you got that person behind you. 1, 2, 3, and then they tap you real hard, so you like spit out all the water you just drank, and then you lost all your progress. It's like, well, now I gotta go again for another 3 seconds because you just made me lose all my progress. It's like when someone's stacking a house of cards, and they're like, you didn't do it fast enough, and they knock them down. It's like, well, now I'm not even gonna get to the end because you knocked all my shit down. You knocked all the water out of my mouth. What am I gonna do now? Piece of shit, kid. But no, I feel like I'm not using just like muscle of like saying the inappropriate thing, And I'm like legitimately terrified that I'll lose it. Which, is that true? Is that a real thing? I don't know. But then it's like, Garv, that's not a real thing. You just got to learn to be more creative. This is actually exposing you. It's showing that you always take the easy route. You don't come up with anything creative. You just go inappropriate. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Oh no, so this isn't even really about me losing that muscle. This is about me confronting my own reality that I'm not even funny. I just rely on like fucked up easy jokes to carry me through life. I go off shock value, not intellect. Slap a beanie on that. Because that's sick as fuck. Not in a good way. Not in like a skateboard trick way. This is sick in a COVID way. There's this one guy I text a few times, you know? He's a friend. I call him a friend. And whenever he like responds to me, I don't know why I do this, but I specifically only do it with him for some reason. I commonly reply with the word sick. You know how people do? Like he'll be like, this is good, whatever. But you know, change this. I'll be like, awesome, thanks. Sick. And he always comes back with, but not like COVID. And it always gets me. I don't know how it always gets me. I always only say sick to this guy. And he always hits me with, but not like COVID. And I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, of course. Such a good rebuttal. But I don't know. What I do know is how to say no. No, I don't. Let's talk about it, right? 2K. A few weeks ago, right? My most recent video, I think it is, right? Still, because I haven't made that video I promised I'd make in a day or two. I don't know why I keep saying this. I'm gonna stop saying this, which is incredible because this is another thing I said I would stop saying. There's like a whole chain of command of things I've said I'm gonna stop saying. So let's just ignore that shit. But I really gotta stop saying I'm gonna like upload a video in a certain day or like at a certain time frame because it never happens. Whenever I like openly talk about this video will be up then, yeah, and then it doesn't happen. Never does. So why do I do it? I don't know. Even when I put videos like on a calendar and I'm like, I'm gonna post it on that day. I don't know why it happens. I never end up doing it on that day. Once it goes on the calendar, it's like this is gonna be up this Friday. 100% chance it's not going to be up this Friday. Isn't it incredible? So I got to stop putting this out there. You know, people always say, speak it into the universe. I don't like that. And it's like, is it because of your own experience? But I don't know. Is it the chicken or the egg? Which one came first? Is it not happening because I'm putting it out in the universe? Or is my fear of it being out in the universe the reason like it's not happening? And because I'm not saying it, it's not happening. Do you know what I'm saying? But you know, I made that video, my most recent video, the NFT tier list video. Well, something happened because of it. I got an email. I don't know if you know this, but I got a business email, right? For business inquiries. That's why you would have one. All that shady business. Well, I got an email. I got an email from an NFT, the founders of an NFT, and they said, "Hey, we're about to launch this NFT." And I don't want to say their name. So let me just like make up a name. Let's call them Baby Ghost. I know, such a specific name. How did you come up with it? I have no idea, but it's not the real name. I swear. Baby Ghost? I totally just came up with that. How do you come up with that? I don't know. But let's just call them Baby Ghost. Let's act like that's their name that I just made up. I did make it up. And I got this email from, this NFT we're calling Baby Ghost. And they said, "Hey, we'd like to do a promotion on your channel. It's for $2,000. And all you got to do is, promote our NFT. We'll send you a little script, what to say. And if you want to do it, it's a cool 2K. So like all of these slimy opportunities, I always hit them with an initial. Why, yes, of course I'm interested. Send that script my way. I'd love to take a look at it. And that's what I did. I told them, yeah, I'm interested. send over some more details. So they did. They sent me this 27-second clip that they wanted me to play at the beginning of a video. And then they sent me a little like script with what to say. And they said, here's also a contract. Once you sign this contract, we will send over half the money. And if you're quick at math, half of 2,000 is 1,000. The way I did that is that I took 2, so it just divide 2,000 by 1,000. Now you have 2. Cut that in half. That's 1, then multiply the 1,000 back in. So half of 2,000 is 1,000. I know. I didn't even do that on my fingers. That was all mental math. UC Davis, what can I say? Proud to be an Aggie. And so, like, if you sign this contract, you get $1,000 in your PayPal account right now. And then when we see the video, what's in there? Cool, 1,000. But I was like, who? No. I don't support NFTs. I think they're fucking stupid. But it's so interesting because there's this idea. I guess it's in probably so many industries, but now I see that it's evident in the NFT industry. Is that, people see you do something once and they're like, that's what it does. And it's like, you idiot. This is an old joke. This is an old joke. I didn't come up with it. I can't claim credit for it. But you've heard this saying? You bake one cake, no one calls you a baker. But you fuck one horse and suddenly you're the guy that fucks horses. And so these people are like, oh, he made one video on NFTs. But I'm like, no. I baked one cake. Okay? That doesn't make me a baker. And they're like, no, but that horse. And now you're a horse, So I think they're wrong. I think they got the wrong guy. Is what I did as bad as what one would do to a horse in my scenario? It's up there. It's But no, I stop responding. With these things, I take them far enough to see like what all do they provide, and then I just ghost them. I happy ghost them. Again, a made up name. It's not real. I swear it's not. I just came up with it. I'm that creative. So yeah. For maybe like, what is it? If you really think about it, what, a minute of work? That's $2,000. But you gotta think about it. How fucked is that to support an NFT? Also, just NFTs aside, if you saw their 27-second video, one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So bad. The audio didn't sync up well. It's like, it sounded like old, they had background music. It sounded like old Halloween music that you would hear playing from like behind a bush out of like a CD player. It sounded all distortion-y. It's like an old broken CD player and then it's like muffled by the bushes. It was bad. The animation was garbage. I don't know. I didn't buy it, figuratively or literally. But I could have if I accepted the deal. God damn it, I could have bought like 2 of those happy ghosts if I took the deal. God, idiot. But that's just me. Silly old me. Say no to money, huh? What a Dumbo. But if I was a real Dumbo, could I come up with this big brain thought? People always talk about, tech industry. And they always, you hear this word FANG. The FANG companies, right? What is that? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, it's not Facebook anymore. So wouldn't it be Mang? And then I was like, well, that's bad for marketing, Because then it's a mangy acronym. And doesn't mangy or mangy, whatever that word is, doesn't that mean like broken down, like dilapidated and like just distraught? So I was like, oh man. See, Fang, it's sharp. It's killer. Mang, it's like, ew, he's not doing well. And I just want to basically say that Mark Zuckerberg, you fucked it for all of us, man. You know how embarrassed all those tech nerds are going to be like, yeah, I work in Mang. And it's like, ew. That doesn't sound good. But when you say I work in Fang, it's got a little Dracula-esque to it. Maybe it was too on the nose. Maybe Mark was like, I don't like that they keep calling us Fang. Because I am a vampire. Have you seen my body? Like I said, I'm feeling off. I'm feeling off. I don't know what it is. Okay, you wanna know what just happened? Holy shit, that was wild. I don't know if it like came across. I thought of a joke, and then I was like, no, you already said that joke. And then I debated in my head, like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yes, you did. I was like, no, you didn't. I was like, well, it's just safer to not say it. And then I like froze. I don't know if you saw that, but that's what just happened in my brain. I told you I'm losing it. That funny muscle, my funny bone, it's atrophying. It's not looking good. I talked about it last week, right? I think it was last week. I talked about like getting CarMax ads, and I was like, how ridiculous is that, right? I don't need a car, so why do they keep giving me CarMax ads? And of course, I was saying CarMax ads and new car and car shopping out loud near my computer and my phone, and that was a mistake. Even though I explicitly said I don't need a new car, I started getting a bunch of ads for cars, and then I even got ads in my email. I'm like, guys, this is like, you're not even being discreet anymore. This is wild as shit. This is like, some creepy guy, like always walking outside your house, and then you go outside, and he's like, oh, what a coincidence seeing you here. It's like, no, I saw you just out here. Don't act like this is coincidence. I see you pacing. So when I randomly pop here, randomly pop out of my own house, the only way I can go, don't act like, oh, is this where you live? Yeah, it says Garv's house on the front. Was that a weird design choice? Sure, but you're using it to your advantage, and I don't like that. So yeah, these car ads, you would think, it's a very clandestine operation, right? But no, they're being very full frontal with it. And I'm like, guys, you got to calm down, or else nothing's going to happen. That's right. I'm not going to do a single damn thing about it, but I'm going to observe it and be like, hey, this is happening. And that's got to be enough to deter you, I hope. My observation, I saw someone selling this really heavy metal, and I don't mean like rock or punk. I mean like it was heavy and it was made of metal. This heavy metal hanging sign. I saw it on Facebook. Someone's like, if you want this sign, let me know. It's like $20 or something. I looked at that sign and it looked like something you would put, behind your bed. Like you see this picture of the bike, it looks like something you would put there. And I was like, oh, this is so heavy and it's made of metal. And I thought, well, if that falls on me, it might wake me up. I might be like, oh, babe, what are you doing back home? No. How'd you know I liked being on the bottom? Okay, no. But you put that metal sign up there, you're dead. Like, like what? You're gonna support it up with nails or some like weird sticky material you saw in an infomercial? You're gonna put the weight of your hand or weight of your life in the balance of like a sticky tape that you can buy with 3 easy ship payments of $10. The fuck are you doing? And so I was like, wait, who would buy this heavy metal hanging sign? And all I could think of was like, well, definitely not me. But you know who would, maybe? Maybe a knight in shining armor. That's right. Do you think maybe a knight in shining armor sleeps in that armor? So they would actually treat the heavy metal hanging sign as an alarm clock. That's right. Take it back to the medieval days when they didn't have alarm clocks. So they would just set up a nail that was weak enough to where after 8 hours it would give out and then the metal sign would slap you in the face. But it didn't matter because you were a knight in shining armor. So yeah, you ever see things and you're like, why? Well, I get why it exists, but then who's going to buy it? Because I would never, because I want to not die from a heavy metal hanging sign. That sounds terrible. What else? What else? What else? What did this guy? I did this last week too. I noticed I like stuttered super hard at the beginning. I said this like beginning syllable of a word like 5 times in a row, and then I just moved on and didn't address it, and I just did it again. I like stuttered 2 or 3 times. I just like short circuited. Electrical engineering major, am I right? You would think I know how to fix it, but no. But you know what else is tragic? All the tragedy in the world, you know? And then I laugh. All right, there, nervous Nelly. Yeah, I start getting serious, and I'm like, well, you should let out a laugh. That'll make everything better. No, I was at this restaurant this past week, and lucky me, I got to, be facing this way where all the TVs were. And there were 5 TV screens. And 4 of them, were playing sports. It was like, tennis. I can act like I'm into that culture. And then, ooh, James Harden got traded to the 76ers. How are he and Embiid gonna, mesh? And then, 2 other sports that no one gives a shit about. But then the 5th screen, it wasn't sports. You see, I had 4 screens, sports. And then the 5th screen, it was like, hey, the world is having a war. And it's like, oh. I'm like, that one seems much more severe. I don't know why it only has 20% of the screens. But I did look at that one the least, so maybe it makes sense. It makes sense that they were like, yeah, you're not gonna. You want to see what this guy is, this guy's jump shot, right? You don't care that the world's under attack. I was like, you know me so well. Can I also get some extra napkins for the table? Thank you so much. I just thought it was very weird. The juxtaposition of just being like, oh, the world. And then, oh, look at this guy. He moved teams. Because when they're right next to each other, you're like, oh, they hold equal weight, right? But, well, it depends how hardcore of a sports fan you are. They might hold equal weight. I didn't really know what to talk about this week because I don't know. What am I supposed to talk about, right? And you're like, oh, it's really taken you 58 episodes of this to realize that nothing you've said is really of importance? All right. Easy. No one asked for input. But because of that, I went back to my first set of notes. I write down random notes to talk about on this podcast, and I actually had to start a new page because the old one was so long that it would freeze my phone if I scrolled down to the bottom. But I scrolled down to the bottom of it, just to pull some stuff because I was like, what is some stuff I didn't talk about that I could go back and cover? Because I got nothing this week. And so let me run some of these by you. One thing I wrote down is cold Kit Kats feel healthier than room temperature Kit Kats. What a dumb... But I think it's true. Don't you feel that way? When something is cold, you're like, oh, this is healthier. I think it's because it's tighter. What? I think when something has more structural integrity, you think, oh, this is healthier. Because when it's warm and it kind of falls apart, you're like, oh. This isn't quite as healthy. I also thought about when you sink into a bean bag or a love sack. When you sink into that, it kind of feels like a warm Kit Kat. But if you sit down and it's you sit down on a piece of ice because you're a penguin in the North Pole, it just feels healthy. What is this guy talking about? I think in one of my early podcast episodes, I talked about how I feel like warm water feels more healthy. Not even that warm water feels healthier or room temp water. I talked about how ice cold water feels like dessert. It feels like a treat. But then here, I think it's actually inverted. I think when you move into a solid, cold solids feel healthier than warm solids. Because I think warm solids expand, You ever have an apple pie and you just put ice cream over it and it just kind of spreads out? It feels more impactful when you eat it. But if you eat a cold apple pie, slice of cold apple pie, it doesn't taste good, first of all. And then there just doesn't feel to be that much of it. It's the same thing with pizza. You ever eaten pizza? Sometimes you just open the fridge, you take out that box, and you just grab a little half slice and you eat it. It doesn't feel that unhealthy. But then you eat warm pizza and you're like, oh, well, I'm a slob, aren't I? But they're both pieces of pizza. And so I wonder what that is. I didn't even think about that. The difference between a solid and a liquid in temperature and how healthy they feel to eat. You can see why I revisited this point because it's such a potent point. I mean, I don't know what you would have done in your life if I didn't tell you about this. Like ice cream doesn't feel that bad when it's like real cold, you know? But then once it starts to, liquefy and it's like a worse shake, you're like, well, not only does this taste worse, but I feel like it's unhealthy. There feels like there's so much more of it. On the same topic of food, another thing I wrote down was I saw this commercial for like, I don't know, Hamburger Helper or some shit like that. It was some food, but then they had people's quotes, and one person's quote was, talking about casserole or some like dish made in the past. They said, "My grandmother's felt like a hug," and then I wrote down, "Imagine trying to solve world hunger with hugs," because if you think about it, the transitive property, if food equals hugs, and then to solve world hunger you need food, and because hugs equals food, then doesn't hugs equal the solve to world hunger? So, think about that. I just thought about like, oh yeah, my grandmother's food, it felt like a hug. And I was like, if food and hugs are the same thing, then what if we went around giving people hugs? And they're like, suddenly I don't have an appetite because you smelled disgusting. Put on deodorant next time, young man. It's basically that. Wasn't that interesting? Oh no, that's terrible. What if you just, oh, that would change the dynamic of everything. Do you remember long ago I talked about how do I say this? Okay, okay. I talked about, I'm going to say this. Okay, hold on. How do I say this? Because I don't really like the way I said it back then. I don't think humans, okay, I don't think humans would reproduce the same if we were all bald. The same way that I don't think everyone would get equally fed or, in our case, hugged if, oh, okay, what if food didn't exist, right? So food didn't exist, but hugs took care of hunger. And so to get fed, you had to be hugged. But what if you smelled a certain way or you were like unattractive to someone and then you never got hugs? Like no one ever wanted to be close to you. So then you never got hugged and then you starved to death. Oh, this would create an entirely different world. Oh, that'd be fucked up. Wow. The world would just be like really attractive people hugging each other. But then would humans be more efficient because we wouldn't have to take time to eat? And through more physical touch, we would actually bond more as a species. I know this is a sensitive topic during COVID times, but think about this, right? If food was replaced by hugs, like it was a one-for-one exchange, I think the world would be a better place. But then no, you have to look at it. Food is such a bonding thing. You know, the old term, break bread? So then would actually human interaction go down? It would be a net loss? Hmm. I don't know. Is food better for society or hugs? Because this commercial certainly made them seem like they're the same fucking thing. And I just want to say, I veto that. I don't think that's true. Based on what I just said, Your Honor. By the way, this is a late podcast episode. And you're probably like, oh, Garv, why is it late? I don't know. Maybe because I had some fucking fun over the weekend? How about that? No. No, I did. I had a lot of fun. But This is right now. It's 8:20 p.m. on a Monday. I should have recorded this yesterday. I just didn't. Um, so yeah, just know that this is right now. At the time I'm speaking, it's 8:20 p.m. on a Monday. So I'm hoping to get this up today. You know, February 28th. And so this is fresh, not frozen, which means it's not very healthy, or it doesn't feel very healthy. Because, frozen stuff feels healthier, according to some jackass on the internet. What else did he write down, though? Oh, this is something. I was going on a walk. No, I wasn't. That's a lie. Boom. We started the episode with a lie, and we'll, prop up the middle with a lie. You can't build a house on sand, but yes, you can. I was leaving, it was like week 1 or 2 of fall quarter. So what are we looking at? September, October timeframe. I was leaving Kemper Hall, the engineering building on Davis's campus, and there was someone that was just the perfect distance away, but you could tell they were coming. And in that moment, I made the executive decision: leave the door quick, look down or away. I forgot which one I elected to do, but I was like, don't acknowledge. Actually, it doesn't even matter where you look, just don't acknowledge that person. Which is so messed up. But you have to do that. I think that's part of growing up, that you see someone that's just like that perfect distance away. And I did it for both of our benefits. I think the positive that would have come up, or would have come from me holding the door open, would not be enough to cancel out the awkwardness they would feel. Because then they would have to like see you're holding the door open and do that like awkward little, run walk thing, little jog. Like it's really a walk, but they have some like movement to it to convey that I'm on my way. I see you. You are seen. And you're doing a thing for me. But then, that's so messed up. Like, what if they have like a sprained ankle and you can't tell? Well, you should probably be able to tell from how they walk. But like, what if they have something? What if they have a heart condition, And then you're basically being like, yeah, risk your life to risk your life to have me do this good deed. That's right. Hurry up. And that's kind of fucked, right? So yeah, on the surface it might be like a little embarrassing little jog fast walk thing. But in actuality, in reality, you could be forcing them to risk their lives. And then also you could be on the receiving end of that, right? You could be that person walking, and because you don't want to really, break a sweat. Like what if you're about to go into a test? You're going to be crammed full of people. You don't want to break a sweat in that little moment and then, pack yourself in like a sweaty sardine. Then people are going to be next to you and be like, well, when it's lunchtime, I'm definitely not hugging this guy because he's sweaty. Ew. And then you're going to die of starvation. This, of course, is in the parallel universe where food doesn't exist and it is hugs. I just want to make sure we're on the same page on that one. Or else that wouldn't make any sense what I just said, would it? And that's quite a predicament, right? The door hold. But you know what else is a big predicament in my eyes? Hand sanitizer. And I know it's all we've been thinking about, right? For 2 years, hand sanitizer. Yeah, we're almost to the 2-year anniversary of the old pandy starting up again. What do we got? What did we get for a 2-year anniversary? A world war. What a treat. Holy shit. But yeah, hand sanitizer, that's a big predicament, right? Because it is the cleanest, most dirty place ever. Because all the people going to get hand sanitizer, right, are probably dirty. That's why they're going to get hand sanitizer. They want to clean up. They want to sanitize. So then that's, if it's got one of those little like push things, that's probably the dirtiest place. Because before people become their cleanest, they are, their dirtiest, right? So then we got the dirtiest people going and pressing a button and then getting clean. So then I think it's such a like ironic thing, hand sanitizer. Because it's the cleanest, dirtiest thing, or it's the dirtiest, clean thing. And that always like messes with me. Whenever I go to get hand sanitizer in like a public place, I'm like, well, if it's not a motion detected one, I'm like, well, am I really, doing a good job here? Like if it is the squirt one, um, like is it worth it? Is the 99%, 99.99% of germs it's gonna kill enough to offset the little petri dish that I just fingered? Not the greatest word to use there. But the little petri dish, I can't talk. A little petri dish up there that is a hand sanitizer squeezer, a hand sanitizer nozzle. I don't know. And so you're probably like, Garv, then what do you do? Well, I just never clean my hands. That's right. That's how nature intended it to be. Keep all those oils, keep all those dirts on your hand. I know quite a few, and I don't know why it is, but I know quite a few adults. I know no kids that think this, only adults. I know quite a few adults that are like, yeah, we wash our hands too much as a society. And I'm like, that's a weird excuse to make just because you don't want to wash your hands after you shit. It takes like a minute. It's a weird argument to make. Yeah, we're actually too clean. Okay, bud, you just don't want to apply soap to your little mittens there, do you? What are you even missing? I know you don't care about your son's recital. You're not rushing to get back out there. All right, clean your hands. At least then your wife will hug you. And then you won't die of starvation. Yep, I'm still talking about that universe. I don't think we're going to talk about any other universe because I don't want to exist in a universe where we have to eat instead of being hugged. I think it's bullshit. Oh boy. Is that a beanie or a tinfoil hat? I don't know. All I know is he's losing his mind. What else did this guy write down, huh? Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Here's one of the last old points I wrote down was setting off your car alarm changes the course of history. Okay. So this is one thing I thought about. I think I was lying in bed one day and I don't think anyone's car alarm went off, but I heard someone arrive in the parking lot. It was late, maybe 2 or 3 a.m. So right at my prime. And I heard this car pull in and I was like, well, I'm already awake. But what if I was asleep? Would that be enough sound to wake me up? Enough noise to disrupt this beauty sleep? But then I wake up in the morning and, I look in the mirror and I'm like, God damn, you're hot. So there's no way it would disrupt my beauty sleep, if I look like this. And if it does, then Jesus, how much hotter can I get? Okay. But I thought about it lying there. I was like, well, what if this woke me up? And then got me thinking, well, enough about me, narcissistic Nathan. What about other people? And I thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, I don't have anything crazy going on tomorrow. But what if someone else does? And I thought about what if there's, someone right there, where whatever room that is, up there. And what if they woke up to that car and they had like this super important interview tomorrow, but because they got woken up by this car, they got to reset their REM cycle, and then maybe they're going to miss their alarm. They're going to miss their interview by proxy, right? Or whatever that word is there. Or as a result. And so I know I said it was just the noise of someone arriving, but I was like, oh, what if someone accidentally, like, put their keys away or, like, actually bumped their keys, right? And then their car alarm went off and went, beep, 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 and it woke a bunch of people up. I was like, well, what if that would force, this girl not to get that internship? And then that internship would have led to her being in this position. And then that position would have led to this position. And then boom, she's the first female president of the United States. But she's not because she missed that interview, all because of a car alarm that went off. And I thought about that. At 3 a.m. that night. And I was like, oh my God. Those people arriving from that party, they could just altered the course of history just now. And I thought about it so much that I couldn't sleep and I actually missed an interview that day. And Who would have thought it was for the President of the United States? I know, I could have been it. But no, those hooligans had some partying to do. Bunch of nonsense. I know, I said I didn't have anything crazy to do the next day. I lied. And that's right. 3 for 3. That's strike 3, my third lie of this podcast. How does he do it? So easily, too. He's a charlatan of the highest degree. But isn't that crazy? I know, that's the old butterfly effect, and then that you can just talk about that forever. Well, if this happened, then this happened. Yeah, well. That's not why your wife left you, okay? You cheated on her, bud. Well, no, that's not. The butterfly flapped its wings. I'm like, it's not that complicated. You're just an asshole. Isn't it interesting? Sometimes there's nothing real deep to it. Sometimes you're just a piece of shit. You ever not pick up, but hold a guitar pick? I don't remember the last time I've held a guitar pick. But when I was growing up, I mean, I still play guitar now, but like when I was growing up, I would always play guitar with the guitar pick. Like I couldn't use my fingers because, I had to reserve them for Type to Learn 3. So I couldn't, wear and tear them. So I'd always elect to use a pick. I had these dope picks. I remember there was this real, like, not quite sandpaper, but real rough, like, gunmetal gray one. And I remember there was, like, a holographic Crazy Frog pick I had. I think I still have it. It's in my old guitar's case. But then I remember one of my most special picks I ever had. It was a real, like, flimsy pick. It was so paper thin. It had so much flexibility to it. But it was given to me by my guitar teacher, Steve. I love Steve. But one, like, defining characteristic of this little flimsy white pick that I love so much was that at the top of it there was a dimple. And the dimple was formed by a tooth. And it's because sometimes when people play guitar, they don't always need their pick. So where do you put it? Where do you easily access it? And so a lot of times you would just, get it in there. So you just, take it back out again. And Steve would use this pick to where it got a dimple, where his teeth would, sink down on it and hold it there. Now, of course, there was no saliva on it when he gave it to me because I specifically requested he wipe it off. No. But I remember one time, I did well in a lesson or something. And he was like, here, have my pick. And it was such a life-changing moment to me because I was like, oh, this is a pick you can't really get anywhere. I mean, sure, it's the 25-cent one you get at the counter at your local guitar center. But I was like, no other pick will have this dimple made by Steve, and have the mileage of all the songs he's played behind it for probably the past few days. He probably runs through these things. But I remember I would use that pick and I cherished it. I used it from the day I got it to, probably the last day I saw Steve. And I think it's still in that guitar case. And I don't know, there's something cooler about a guitar pick with teeth marks in it than just a normal guitar pick. Which is the complete opposite of a children's toy. Because if you see a children's toy with teeth marks in it, you're like, that's fucking disgusting. But you see a grown-up item, like a guitar pick with teeth marks, and you're like, oh, fuck yeah, this is kind of cool. So what I'm saying is the older you get, the more socially acceptable it is to put your mouth around things. That's right. I was always working towards. No, I wasn't. I didn't even think about that until now. I just realized, oh, yeah, no, that's an inappropriate way to take this. And like I said, I was a little nervous I couldn't be inappropriate anymore. But what do you know? I proved myself wrong. And I did it. I made a very innocent story completely inappropriate. I still got it. Anyways, sorry for the late episode. Sorry for not posting a new video. But just know it didn't go to waste because I had a lot of fun this weekend. So I will talk at you next week, and no promise that it'll be any better than this. Okay? Talk at you next week.